Welcome back to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. This time it's Arena. Oh yeah, the Gorn versus us. After you're done checking this out, you're clearly a fan of TV. With this, obviously Star Trek's one of the great TV shows, but, that's in the past. What about the future? Check out Jerome's TV reviews, because there's a lot of TV out there. There's so much to sift through. You got, Hulu, Netflix, the networks, everything. So he'll tell you what's good and he'll tell you what's bad. So you know what to check out, and you can trust him. Maybe you're into bad TV, and he'll send you that way as well. Speaking of things you watch, did you know that IABD has a YouTube channel? That's right, they do have a YouTube channel. It's part of the IABD Presents network. Check it out. You'll see the videos, behind the scenes kind of stuff. When eventually one day when we start, simulcasting this podcast, you'll be able to see us doing this. Yeah. Am I selling you on this YouTube channel? Maybe not, but we don't have that yet. So go check it out. And in fact, check out everything on the IABDpresents.com network. Check it all out. In the meantime, check this out. It's Arena on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before with your regular lineup. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Steven.
I'm Keith.
That was Keith.
He was across the room getting
Way
a
over
beer.
here.
I am Jimmy-Jerome. So we're here today to talk about the episode Arena, which I don't think had anything sexist in it at all.
No.
Woo!
Well, not really
Oh,
sexist.
there's that one thing.
There is the one thing that the Uhura shriek.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, that's not necessarily sexist.
It's not a sex thing. It's more of a that's
Out
not
of
a
character.
Uhura. Yes.
Yes,
There you go.
yeah.
Especially weird
Yeah.
here though, because the episode we just watched, Squire Gothos, Kirk also disappears, and Uhura has no reaction.
Right.
No, that's why it's more an out-of-character
Yeah.
thing than it is.
Well, that was the only thing that was out of character. The fact that Kirk went total vengeance, we're gonna hunt them down and kill them,
Yes.
was completely out of character, because in past episodes we've seen him to go to great lengths to understand the other species.
Yeah, that felt really weird.
I guess maybe, and this is just a theory of me, because I can justify everything, is his good buddy, that Commodore, was down there, was killed, so he was enraged.
They
and
do have that line in there.
I forgot
But
that.
in Conscience of the King, he was even, more even-keeled, and he knew people who had been massacred.
That's true.
Although,
Just like that massacre at Bowling Green that happened this week, let's take a moment of silence.
Oh my god.
3, 2,
And that is a moment.
but Cestus 3 is really fresh though, as opposed to
Yeah.
Bowling Green, yeah.
the Kodos.
Oh, Kodos, yes.
Probably was it a Rigel planet? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Probably. Rigel something.
Before we
Rigel's
get
a big
past
system.
The Commodore, since we never actually see him,
Oh.
I do want to specify that there was a mention of a personal chef. And we have discussed the chef on the
have
Enterprise
indeed.
before. And is he the chef for the whole Enterprise or just for Kirk?
Well, Kirk and McCoy had that moment, rank hath its privileges. Oh, we know that. We both know that.
Right. So I just wanted to bring okay, maybe this is that the chef on the Enterprise is Kirk's chef.
I didn't write as much this time, I think. Well, actually, I think once I got
Kirk
going.
went early on. The Sulu is an experienced combat officer.
Okay.
When Sulu is driving the ship, doing the communications,
And firing phasers.
yes, he's doing it all.
And Kirk's directing the space battle from the planet's surface.
Yes.
Which makes no sense. Neither of those
Especially
things make sense.
when they just said Sulu's an experienced combat officer,
Yes.
and then let
Yeah.
him combat.
Well, and you guys both were like, hey, where's Uhura? Where's Scotty?
Yeah.
And
Scotty should have honestly been in the captain's chair. Sulu should be driving. Uhura should be taking the call. I feel like Sulu was the only one they had that day when they were filming.
That's exactly
Because it was
what
a
I
very
was
tight shot.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because you don't see the
any other part of
Captain
the bridge.
Pike guy or Eddie Munster guy.
Captain Pike's son that was sitting in navigation. Or Eddie Munster's descendant.
Or
yeah.
Fabian for old people out there who remember Fabian.
Uh-huh.
He did look kind of reminiscent.
That's all right. I'm an old person.
Did they say
inside.
what that guy's name was? Because there's a few
They
other
did at one
officers.
point.
Was it Kelowitz or DePaul?
DePaul, I
It
think.
was DePaul,
Yeah.
played by Sean Kenny.
Yeah.
He was actually his most recent IMDb credit is for a fan-made thing called Star Trek Captain Pike, where he played Commodore DePaul.
Oh,
Interesting.
He's got a couple of credits from this year, but other than like 3 credits, he dropped off the face of the earth in the 70s. And he actually played the injured Pike in the Menagerie. He was
that's
that
him.
would explain
Okay.
why.
There you
yeah.
go.
He does play this character again, DePaul, in one other episode, A Taste of Armageddon,
Oh, okay.
in also 1967. But yeah.
So, I have another thing about just sort of continuity and like character.
I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
definitely
not
going
so
to
much-
explain him, and I'm sure you're wrong, but go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
So, and it has to do with like Sulu and Kirk directing it from the, where he says like fire photons. Now in this one, for Sulu to fire the or not the photons, the phasers, but
Phaser banks.
Yeah, Sulu just hits a button.
Yeah.
He didn't have to call down and get them ready at all.
Well, when they hit the button, it sends a signal downstairs.
But then he does have to call down to get photon torpedoes ready.
Yeah, those weren't prepared ahead of time.
Is this-
the phasers were prepared?
And maybe I just think this every time they use them. Is this the first Photon Torpedoes episode? Or have we already
Maybe.
seen it?
No, this might be because we talked about what was the submarine episode that we watched a couple weeks ago.
Balance of Terror.
Yes, so we talked about how that was all phasers.
Yes.
And they were treating the phasers like photon
Yes.
torpedoes,
Yes.
and you guys both were like, well, maybe photon torpedoes aren't a thing yet. So I wonder if this was the
Well,
first
Sulu
one.
just invented them because his hobby this week is weaponry. So he just invented the photons.
But that's it.
While he was doing everything else, he's like, you know what?
Yeah, I don't want to invent something new. Weapons, new weapons.
like this to me makes more sense where he can just hit a button and fire
Yes.
the phasers. But they'd already established that they have to call down to fire phasers.
Well, that may have been something they addressed after Balance of Terror, after the issues they
Yeah,
had.
they're like, the
Okay.
phasers
Like, you
are
know
taking
what?
too long.
Maybe there's a way around this.
Weren't they? I mean, wasn't he constantly talking about getting the phaser banks ready and so forth? Though I could have sworn was that this episode? Because I remember
Oh, yeah.
a lot of that. Well, I mean, I can't think of what else he would have needed to ready phaser banks for. So
But you're right, it did come up either. Just
Huh.
one of the one before, he did just mention it.
Yeah, it just
Yeah,
something
no,
to point
I-
out that it's
Well,
like
I think
don't
in
know that they had fully
most of
figured out yet.
I think in most of Star Trek, they don't call down the fire. I mean, I
Yeah.
think they were just like telling them to get prepared. I don't know. It's not completely clear. Just like the reason Scotty and Uhura probably weren't in that battle scene, we decided, is because they were having a nooner somewhere.
Right.
And that's why we saw Scotty suddenly slip the green earring into his pocket. In the enhanced version. Not really.
Not really. That was Jim's fantasy.
It was until we saw Uhura and she was wearing both of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning the green earrings. I still
Fashion!
quite a few fashion things.
Oh
in
yeah,
this
talk
one.
about them. Go
All right,
for it.
All right, we got to do the theme song.
Sorry.
Fashion beat.
Sure.
This is what we do in every episode.
No.
the first time ever, it's like what's just
So-
happened?
We just did Uhura's earrings. There's the Gorn's dress.
I liked the Gorn's dress. I thought it was appropriate.
No, I do feel like
It makes you, it's enough to draw your attention, but doesn't revel too much.
And it's
Yeah.
the perfect shape for the action figure that they make. Because it like cuts off right between the
That's
legs.
right, yep.
Yeah.
yeah, it's almost like at the same length as like Uhura's
Uh-huh.
uniform.
Which,
Except I think that it actually wraps around the genitalia rather than just hanging open.
It may, but it highlights
Yeah.
the muscular legs of the Gorn.
Well, those were sexy legs.
Surprisingly so, actually.
So then,
which are made
Almost
for
as
strength
sexy
and
as
not
its
speed.
ear holes.
Yeah.
here was another fashion thing. Did you notice Kirk's boots were different than they have been?
They weren't the high heels?
Yeah, they weren't the high heel boots. They were
Interesting.
completely flat and looked a lot, which
More
honestly,
military, like lacing and stuff.
Well, the
Well, it would have been
military
really tough with that
boots,
sprained ankle later. To
They
walk
actually
around.
seemed like completely flat and almost no tread, which seemed odd for being. I mean, it's not like he knew what Metrons were going to be like. Come down to this planet, but it just was like an entirely different style of boot than I had ever noticed.
Well,
before.
ever since Rand left, he's had shorter yeomen, so he didn't feel the need to wear the heels anymore.
Oh, okay. And then,
See, I told you, I could
And you
explain
didn't
it all
even have a
away.
yeoman this episode.
No,
and then we do have to discuss
they were on strike.
the Metron's fashion.
What about them?
Yeah.
That was a super sparkly dress.
Are you talking about the Metron played by Carolyn Berry, even though she was credited as Carol Shalene?
That was a woman?
That was a
Yeah.
woman?
Uh,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that
She died actually just in 2015, so she only recently died. Unless it's a guy named
recently ceased to exist.
She
was something up until
less than 2 years ago.
A couple years ago. She's nothing.
Her most recent credit, other than a TV movie she did in 2013, was a Star Trek The Next Generation episode where she's credited as female engineer.
that seemed like a male voice, didn't it? I mean,
Well,
I think the voice was male, but I think she was just
But I thought the actor was male too. I'll admit.
it was from far enough away that it didn't look like it.
Actress and writer, it says.
So there was the very Greek Roman style hair,
Yes.
and I mean the whole dress sort of was
Which just proves that the
sparkly,
Greeks and Romans were aliens.
And then the ribbon shoes.
Chariots of the Gods.
Yes.
There were ribbon shoes happening.
Oh yeah, I didn't like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like whenever they said "We are the Metrons," all I could think of was, "We are the Metrons. Thank you. Good night."
So you are right. The Metron voice is a guy named Vic Perrin. Additional voices for Scooby-Doo is what he's best known for. So yeah, he's definitely a voice actor.
And Ted Cassidy.
He did
was
die
back.
in 1989 though.
Ah.
So
I know Ted Cassidy was the first.
was one of the Gorn voices.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, it's unclear. So
It
there's
was the alien from-
three Gorn uncredited, then Ted Cassidy is listed as Gorn voice uncredited.
He was definitely that, and then
that was the second episode of Star
Yeah.
Trek.
yeah, he was
'Cause he was in
the
What Are Little Girls Made
yeah
Of?
he was the
He was Lurch from the Amazon
Lurch,
Link.
yeah.
that guy.
Oh, he's the one who was the Gorn, or
Yes.
the Gorn's voice.
Gorn's voice.
Voice.
And then in
So was
What Are
he
Little
doing
Girls
the,
Made Of, he
like-
was the big guy.
Or was he doing the Gorn?
He did the actual
to
talking.
himself?
He did the actual talking.
Oh, okay.
I've heard everything you've said.
Yeah, because there's 4 people credited as this Gorn.
Yeah.
I wonder if I wonder if they're the ones doing all the breathing.
That-
I don't know.
yeah, because we had a debate on whether the Gorn was laughing or not.
I think
vote-
it's your human bias.
I vote for laughing.
He may have been laughing in response to being able to hear the.
The captain.
Yeah.
And the captain didn't know he was hearing him.
And I feel like the
Yeah.
Metrons are just like crooked fight promoters.
I feel like the Metrons are also Tree Lane's people, are also Charlie X's people, are also the people where there's so many godlike creatures in the original
Yeah.
series in the
Yeah.
first 17 episodes. And it strikes me because I feel like after season 1 of the original series, we almost never run into godlike
Nope.
creatures.
Nope.
In the
we've got a
seasons
couple
2
more to
and
go,
3,
yeah.
in seasons 2 and 3,
Yeah.
and all of the spin-offs and movies, we never run into godlike creatures other than
Yeah.
Q.
Well,
Now I wonder if they all know each other.
They got to. They have a club.
They
but
have
then they
to.
all disappeared.
Yeah.
yeah. They all,
You were advanced enough for us to hang out with. We
in
should get
1,000
together.
years. Oh,
Well, I
yeah.
think it's like
They are, but yeah, we're
but
not.
we're not ready yet.
No, there's a handful of others.
But then in 2,000 years, wouldn't they advance another 2,000 years?
Don't overthink it. No, they were as advanced as you get.
I mean, they probably, the Metrons and all those guys probably tell everyone, maybe in 2,000 years you might be advanced. Then 2,000 years later, they're like, maybe.
2,000 years. But
They just keep putting it up.
Kirk told
He's cut
Spock
in half.
just 1,000.
Yeah, he's like,
because
oh.
Kirk is,
yeah.
yeah.
And I was confused that, again, I was saying the Metrons were the crooked fight promoters. They're like, we're going to show it to you. Bueno, mano, bada. And then but at the end, it cut out. They're like, oh, we're not even going to show you the end.
Right.
We're going to sell it to you later on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh, those of you in the galaxy are willing to
They had to have Caesar host the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept waiting for it to be like, "Welcome to the Thunderdome."
What I didn't get is they're like, we don't like this violence. You can't blow each other up. Instead,
Here's the way to solve it.
we're going to let the captains fight hand to hand, and then we're going to blow up one of your ships.
Yes.
So how was that better than just letting them fight it out?
It was.
I guess they were trying to teach him a lesson of some sort, but it was.
Well, they're more advanced, so they're
selling
not supposed to
tickets.
understand the lesson.
Well, and Stephen mentioned this while we were watching it. Is they're more advanced and they're so condescending.
Yeah.
All of these
They're always-
quote unquote higher beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. though.
So,
Like, ugh.
Well, I
You're
think
not
you said it,
nearly
Keith. You're like, well,
I think some of it
it
is
should be
justified in that
expected.
sense. Well, all right. The point of that.
I had a joke, but it's mean.
So saying, right. So first of all, I thought I was surprised because I was assuming coming into this it was going to be something completely different. It looked like it did look like they were headed for some sort of trap. But I thought it was going to be more like an actual Caesar type character where they were like, we want this to be an arena. This is for our people to do this thing. And they really kind of swerved me when it was just sort of like, you guys are just idiots. We're going to show you what it's like to do this if you want to do it. Like, we're going to do it like this. And then I think the
Bread and Circuses episode's coming up later.
Yeah. That episode is coming.
Yeah.
The flashiness that they were trying to put behind it at that point was actually came up with a purpose for it. We're doing this to scare other people off. This is what happens when you do this. We'll make you do this.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and that was also sort of like their reasoning for them having like the communicator kind of stick things down there was, we need a
Make a
record
log,
of this.
Yeah.
But then there was like the trick of the Gorn could hear Kirk, but Kirk couldn't hear the Gorn.
We probably wasn't understanding it, was a thing.
Or Kirk just didn't turn it on.
Well,
could be that too.
Kirk did have the universal translator function turned on.
Oh, okay.
And the Gorn was just going
But then
that whole
he
time.
did when the Gorn wanted him to hear him. Like, that doesn't make sense. Don't me.
Who's to say how these Metrons run their business?
Right.
It's shady from the beginning.
Yeah.
And then nobody sees the end of the fight. It doesn't.
Right.
What happens to the first guy that gets killed from the Enterprise? So the Gorn are attacking, they're shelling them, but the first guy gets
Like,
Zapped.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a red shirt.
But
Yes, he is.
why don't they just shoot everyone else that way?
Well, he stood up and made himself a target. They
Oh,
were all
fair.
crouched behind the wall.
Was he with them when they landed, or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. He
So
was
they just kind of they cut away, and then he was just
Yeah, the only survivor. Well, they said there was the only life sign they found, because the second life sign was the non-hot-blooded. That would have been the Gorn.
Yeah.
The only life sign they found was that guy with the clay all over his face.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that makeup job.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
I'm sorry,
That
they did a better job with makeup in Miri.
could
That wasn't great.
They spent all their time and effort on the Gorn. They didn't have time to do
Yeah, I
that,
guess
guys.
that's
Amanda, could you please talk about the head acting now?
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Can we please?
The makeup was bad. The bed acting was worse.
Yeah, I called it head acting.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tossing and turning. I cannot sleep.
It was like he had to move his head on every single sentence or every single.
Was that
word.
Kelowitz? It's got to be Kelowitz, right?
And then-
Played by Grant Woods.
I don't know, but there was
Gotta
so
be.
much. He just couldn't hold his head
No.
straight for a second, and I don't know.
Well, Kelowitz was in 3 episodes, so maybe not, because
No.
Okay.
Kelowitz was in Galileo 7 and The Side of
I wonder
Paradise.
if
okay.
Kelowitz was one of the.
Rich
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
That didn't matter.
It's a shame that the
Maybe
audience.
O'Harley, played by Jerry Ayers. There's also Lieutenant Harold. There's Lang. There's a few characters. in
I
this
don't
one.
know, but he had bad makeup and bad acting.
Yeah. He did.
I was just going to say that it's a shame that the audience can't see Amanda's demonstration because it's like a Molly Ringwald dance from Breakfast Club or something.
Yeah.
The hair just.
The hair flopping around.
Don't you
You could take a
shake
video.
your head so much.
Take a video. Put it on YouTube, Jimmy.
Nope.
We're supposed to have more YouTube content.
We do,
This
but
is
that's
true.
not going to do it.
Oh, come on, but I could do this all day.
I had another technology question. What the hell is a tractor beam? Why is it called a tractor beam? And is this something we have?
It's like you're you're towing something with a tractor.
Oh, so it's an actual beam.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It holds things in place.
That's from a tractor to a trailer.
Yes.
Sure.
Something like that.
I think so. This is when Jeremy should have been here, because he would have been
Yeah,
like, oh.
that makes sense.
Blah,
What
blah,
you're saying.
What,
makes
did
sense.
that come up in this episode?
Yeah, they were
Yeah, they
like,
were
"Oh,
talking
is this a
about-
tractor
yeah.
beam?"
So tractor beam is a device
Which I think
with
was
the
the second
ability to
straight
track
episode.
one object to another from a distance. It was coined by the science fiction author E.E. Smith in his novel Space Hounds of IPC, 1931.
Okay, so it wasn't, but he must have been thinking the way of a tractor.
I'm not
Pulls
sure. It does not explain that on Wikipedia. It just says it was coined by a science fiction author.
Huh. So I've never questioned it, because
I guess I never really thought about it either.
Also
but
happens in Star Wars.
I feel like a lot of franchises and movies and things have used
Yeah.
the term tractor beam
sure, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
since 1931.
Wikipedia
Never.
just calls the guy that they find Survivor, but his name is Tom Troop.
That's not any of the names listed on IMDb.
Also, Tom Troop is alive.
Oh. He
Oh,
does
Tom Troop
exist.
plays Lieutenant Harold.
Oh, okay.
So yes, I do see that on.
Oh, okay,
on
that's
the
it.
IMDb.
How many credits does he have? And does it involve
66.
He's also a writer.
He's best known for My Own Private Idaho, Kelly's Heroes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he actually has a credit from 2017, and he is still alive.
Yeah.
He was born in 1928, so he's pretty old.
He was in the original
Yeah.
Broadway production of Diary of Anne Frank.
He was in 3
He's almost
episodes of Who's
90.
the Boss as Father
89.
Marconi.
Or almost 89.
Of course he was in Murder, She Wrote, because who wasn't?
I wasn't.
It's primarily stage performer, which
You weren't?
might
I was.
Primarily a stage
explain
performer.
why he was acting like he was on a stage, but he was on a...
Yeah. That would explain sort of the head.
Most of his
shape.
IMDb credits are 60s and 70s.
Okay.
Ha, that's just such bad head acting.
I don't know what you're talking about. I thought it was Oscar worthy.
I really, now I want to
Because
see.
television episodes win Oscars.
And I also thought the whole Kirk figuring out the sulfur and all that.
Yeah.
It's like The Martian. He figured out everything he had to do
So, speaking of
to
that,
try and kill somebody.
well, yeah, at least in The Martian.
The Martian
Mark
is
Watney's
ripped
not
up
trying to
no,
kill
he's
anyone.
just trying to eat.
And survive.
Yeah.
and eat poop. Yeah. Poop potatoes.
Poop
Yes.
potatoes.
Poop potatoes.
Yeah. Speaking of like the sulfur and stuff, the
Sure.
makeshift gun that he makes.
Apparently wasn't hollow all the way through.
That's
It didn't look like it until he actually shot it.
Well, and those plants where they pulled the bamboo, first of all, that piece itself, but also all the plants around it were so placed. They did not grow there. They were not naturally occurring.
Those Betrons.
And the sulfur
Well, that might have been part of the
residue,
clue,
the
actually.
diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like they left pockets of materials around for them to use.
Yeah.
And apparently,
it's like Master
Mythbusters tried to do what Kirk did, and they weren't able to do it.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
But they were on Earth. They weren't on that planet.
Right. It's a different property.
Totally different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that just there were several things on that planet where it was like, oh, this is placed here, including like the branch that the Gorn grabs out of the tree, where you can see where they've weakened whatever for him to pull. The boulder that he's gonna pick up is suddenly a very different color than anything else, which.
And you liked how Kirk was on the precipice way, way, way above, but the dust from the boulder still rose up.
Yes. How I was like, why is there smoke
Camera
from
angle.
that boulder that he and
Dust, not smoke. Camera angle.
I did like the shot of the boulder actually falling. That
Yeah.
looked good.
Yeah.
It actually looked like a real boulder.
They actually did a really nice job at sound editing
Yes.
there, where he's like pushing the boulder and it actually sounded like rock on rock. And I was like, okay, look, some of their production design on this, a little shoddy, but their sound editing was spot on.
Weird thing that we noticed
Could've been
in the
enhanced.
remastered enhanced effects, the Gorn blinks a couple times, but
Yes.
only in the very first
That's
scene
right.
you see him. Mm-hmm. For no reason.
Is that in like disbelief? Like, I can't believe that's what they look like. Or
Yeah, those humans sure are ugly.
yeah.
So also with all the elements, when they're sort of like on the Enterprise and the whole like bridge crew is there and watching this weird
Sure.
Hunger Games-esque thing, and Spock is like, yes,
Good,
he's figuring it out.
Good.
And then he even says to McCoy, like, why don't you know your chemistry? No, but seriously though, why doesn't McCoy know his chemistry? He's a doctor.
Well, gunpowder? I don't know if he would. Maybe.
In the future, doctors don't need to know chemistry. It's all machines.
Yeah, could be that too.
All right.
No, it's not true, because another episode is doing chemistry stuff.
Well, that was, I mean, yeah. It just seemed odd that it's like, I just feel like McCoy should have.
Look, Amanda, this show is perfect. You don't need to make up
Well,
flaws.
McCoy was just,
think
I
he
don't
should
know
know.
if maybe McCoy had been huffing or something, because this episode he was also very like, well, what are you going to do? And Spock's like, what do you want me to do?
Was this the episode where Scotty was drunk too?
Yeah.
Yes, there was. He looked so drunk.
He was.
My note for Scotty is that I think this is the first time I ever noticed him saying Kenna. The first first
Yeah,
episode.
I noticed that.
Kenna.
And I noticed once they got to the, Kirk gives the order to go to Warp Factor 8. Very dramatic.
Yes.
Sulu doesn't look at Kirk or Spock. He looks at Scotty like, is this gonna work?
Yeah.
Well,
That's funny.
And then the stars weren't streaking the way they should. It felt like they used a stock footage enhanced shot instead of building a new enhanced shot.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, there were two, because there was Warp Factor 7 first, and that had more of a long shot and everyone on the bridge turning to look. And like you said, Sulu looking. And then Warp Factor 8, then it changed to close-ups on everyone turning and looking. I was like, oh, it's so dramatic.
I was very amused by that whole effect. I like that kind of build sometimes, though, because sometimes in lieu of actual science, you have to kind of rely on the reactions of the characters to put it over, to go like,
what this
oh my
actually
god,
means.
ooh, that's really fast. Yeah, that's really dangerous.
But I thought it was interesting how it started with like the wide shot of everyone, and then to make it more intense, they switched to the close-ups of like what?
Is this the first time they've really gotten into the idea of warp factors? Like numbers, even. I mean,
I feel like they've used numbers before.
Yeah, I feel like
but
this is the first time they
so much.
went this fast and made an emphasis about.
Yeah.
This was before the speed limit.
Yes. Yeah.
And and this was maybe one of the first times Scotty's like,
hey, maybe we shouldn't do that.
yeah, we cannot do it, Captain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go too fast, you got to time travel, and they don't want time travel.
I like that Spock used the term hot pursuit. That's still in the vernacular, even on Earth and Vulcan, apparently in the 23rd century.
That fits because we were talking about how...
Also a good John Cusack movie from the 80s, by the way. Hot Pursuit.
Yeah.
I feel like I might have seen it. I don't really remember it right now.
Kirk is the one that's like, oh, we've got to go chase them down and blah, blah, blah. And Spock is like, maybe we shouldn't destroy them.
Yeah.
And then Kirk says something about how, like, they're the space police, basically. And I was just like... So that would fit.
We got a 187. Yeah.
They're just being the space police.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the dream police.
Since you mentioned that, it does call back to what you were saying before about it being out of character for Kirk, and of course that they had to force that into the writing to give the Metrons a reason to do what they were doing. I guess.
Yeah, because the Metrons are all about how you had destructive intent when you entered our space.
Right. And to play up the primitive nature of what they were doing.
Give you other destructive thing,
Yeah.
The Metron thing just didn't make a lot of sense.
No,
They wore a pretty dress.
it's quite the
Pretty
device.
sparkly dress.
The strangest thing that I think that they did in this entire thing, which I noted toward the end there, was when they just kind of showed up all of Spock had been trying to hail them to talk. And then they just decided to contact them to say, hey, you know what? Your captain's about to die. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, that was
Hey,
awful.
get a load of this. What we're going to put up on the screen for you.
And they said, this will help you prepare.
Yeah.
Right.
What kind of sick beans are you? That you're like, you know what helps people deal with the loss of a loved one? Watching them die.
Well,
Say your prayers.
They're so advanced,
Literally,
they're just
say your
like-
prayers.
We think this might help. We don't know.
So interestingly, I noticed this at the ending credits. This said story by Frederick Brown.
I read about this.
Who is, I'm looking at his IMDb, and he wrote several episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. He did a few different things, mostly horror, it looks like. But then it said written by Gene L. Coon.
Yeah.
Which kind of surprises me that Gene L. Coon wrote a script that had this many
Brown
plots.
wrote, I think it was either a short story or something, and so then when Gene L. Coon wrote this, they sent it down to whoever you sent it to at Paramount or whatever, and they were like, this seems really familiar, and so they found Brown's story, and they got a hold of him, and they were like, hey, can we use this, and we're going to give you a story credit, and he was like, okay. He wasn't even aware that he didn't even realize what it was being used for or anything. He was like, I'll take the money, and so they gave him a story credit, and
All right.
So...
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting because Gene L. Coon's often credited for fixing scripts.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at this and like, oh, we've got a number of plot holes that could have been fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have.
I don't know.
But there were still, I mean, we found a lot of plot holes in this one. But then I feel like they were still trying to get in, like, the social message about...
And I liked that.
The Gorns, like, oh, we thought they were invading, but maybe technically we were invading them, and they were just protecting themselves.
Yeah.
So it brings in this whole idea of, like, colonialism.
Yes.
And, it just... I
I
kind of
like
wish
that
there
Kirk
were.
came to that conclusion all on his own with no
But
information.
I wish there had been more of that
No,
in the episode.
the Gorn was talking to him. Remember, he was explaining. That's where
He had a
Spock
lot
was
of
over
time
here.
in that area to
Sure.
think about what had happened while he was building his bamboo gun.
Now, this episode was directed by Joseph Pevney, who directed 13 other episodes of Star Trek. He was one of the most prolific Star
Yes.
Trek directors.
Huh.
But this was the first one he did.
Oh wow.
Actually, 13 of the 14 episodes he did were 1967. So
Oh okay. So
we're
he
going to see a
goes on
lot of
run.
his.
Okay.
He did some of the best ones. He directed Devil in the Dark, City on the Edge of Forever, Amok Time, Trouble with Tribbles. So
Oh, wow.
he
Yeah.
directed a lot
Yeah.
of the big ones.
Okay.
It's like a top
So
10
we'll
list
be
there.
Yeah.
Watching a bunch of those coming up.
Yeah, I mean, Trouble
Yes.
with Tribbles,
Yep.
City on the Edge of Forever, always top everybody's lists.
How far away were we from those?
The Trouble with Tribbles is definitely season two.
2,
I think City on the Edge of Forever is end of
coming up.
season 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got a while, but it's this season.
And a Muck Time begins season 2. So those
Mm-hmm.
2 are coming up fairly soon.
Oh, I have a couple of slash fiction moments.
Yeah, there were.
There was the
Somewhere.
out.
Yes, please sing as I'm off. Beneath the pale moon sky.
Pale moonlight. Come on.
Whatever. Whatever.
There was a moment where, yeah, I think it was sort of when
Kirk and Spock.
Kirk and Spock, but from a distance, because it was when McCoy was asking Spock, like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I can't do anything. He's like, where do you think he is? And he was like, out there somewhere. And then instantly, Jim and I were like, yes. This is their moment singing to each other across space, somewhere out there.
Did you
And
notice?
there
that-
was a moment where Kirk grabbed McCoy's arm that felt very.
Oh,
Okay, that's
at the end?
No, early on.
Oh, I've got one at the end for that.
When they were like on the Cestus, whatever that was blowing up.
Oh yeah.
One of the crewmen, when they were by the grenade launcher.
Yes.
Remember Kirk sort of reaching over to grab his arm. You remember that? Like,
Yeah.
Got your
Well,
arm.
first of all, grenade launcher, very phallic symbol. And Kirk being like, Spock, help me with this grenade launcher. I mean, come on. Giant phallus, guys.
Which other than the giant blue paintball torpedoes, grenade launchers have not made much advances.
No,
Also,
but the
throughout their
grenades
century.
themselves were beautiful.
They
Yeah.
were. They were lovely.
They're very
They were really
candy-like.
lovely.
Yes.
But there
But
was
they also gave tinnitus due to improv
Oh, yeah, I did think that.
explosions to Shatner, Nimoy, and DeForest Kelly that they suffered for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
because of
What?
This episode.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
They exploded.
Oh my
really
God.
Improperly timed special effects
Yeah.
explosions. They all had ringing ears for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I hope that's exaggerated.
No.
I read it too. Yeah.
Oh.
It's on the IMDb trivia.
Yeah.
Well, there was a part at the end when Kirk is back on the ship and McCoy is like really excited that he's back.
Oh yeah, he gives him a look like.
He gives him a look.
Yeah, and he kind of touches his shoulder
Uh-huh.
like, "I'm glad you're back."
I was like, oh.
And then he walks
They're
off
doing
like,
it later.
yeah, he walks off like, "I'll see you in a while."
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's weird.
So Kirk is just like getting with all the dudes in
Yeah.
this episode.
Did you-
Kirk just can't turn it off. He's putting it out to everybody.
Did you notice the thing with McCoy holding Spock's chair?
Oh
when
yeah.
he
Yes.
was just kind of.
Yeah. And then he held it when Kirk sat down to it too later on.
See, they're just having a menage a trois at some point.
They said the name of the colony, Cestus 3, actually foreshadows the theme of the episode because Cestus was a Roman boxing glove fitted out with deadly weapons used by gladiators in an arena.
Oh.
And I mentioned I was
That makes
disappointed that Gorn don't come back other than like
Yeah.
Next Generation
Yeah.
novel. But apparently, according to this, they did appear in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
Huh.
It was not one I'd seen, but in Enterprise they brought the Gorn back. Well, technically Enterprise predates this, so,
Yes.
you know.
They look a little like Sleestacks. Did anyone ever see Land of the Lost? Yeah.
Did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the
I know what
70s.
you're
Those
talking
used to
about.
freak me out. Yeah.
I
Literally
would agree
actually
with that.
scare me. And Kirk, the last 2 episodes, has been like, to stereotype a teenage girl or me, in that both episodes he's getting attacked, he cannot stay off his phone. He cannot get off his phone. It's like he should be running, but he's like, I gotta talk to you. Hey, I gotta send this text. Oh crap, I gotta run.
true.
Hey, did you get that last text? Because I'm sending you another one. Oh, I gotta run. Both episodes, it's like he's just like whatever. He's got to make that text. Gotta send that text.
I think my favorite battle move of his against the Gorn in this one was when he just did like, I'm boxing your ears. And the Gorn was like, oh, like, and I'm like, really? That's how that works? You just box the Gorn.
It's universal.
Yeah.
That move's universal.
Apparently in the script, I just read this, and this is very interesting to me. In dialogue that was not aired, the Metron admitted to Kirk at the end that they had planned to destroy the winner because they'd represent the greater threat.
Oh. Huh.
Interesting.
But the mercy caused them to let them go.
Huh. I wonder why they didn't...
I feel like it would have been a little bit stronger if they'd let them in.
Yeah. I feel like that also would have, like, led to the idea of, like, colonialism and who's protecting who, and like I feel like that would have.
It actually would have made a lot more sense about what they were doing. The whole pretext of the whole thing.
Also, originally Ashton Kutcher was going to come out at the end after they won. Say, you just got punked, and then they blow up his ship.
And everyone would start laughing.
The Metrons are the worst, man.
Here's a funny behind-the-scenes story. They actually built 2 Gorn suits for this episode, and Bob Justman, who was one of the producers of the show, kept the 2 suits in his office, one dressed up to look like a girl, to scare people that would come to his office after they did this episode.
All right.
My missed comedy moment, I think my last note of this, would have been when Spock was first watching Kirk trying to figure it out. I wish they would have cut to him sort of just like shaking his head or sighing when they had Kirk just picking up that first piece of bamboo and flinging it. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like,
that would have been.
Like,
Spock just like, oh, come on.
So disappointing. Oh, do you have a side alternate episode this time?
I think it's the head guy. What's his name?
I can't remember now.
Lieutenant Harold
Yeah,
Harry,
it turns out he just has that condition the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes,
Oh my god.
his head's shaking.
like a form of
Yeah.
Parkinson's.
But
Like,
he
it's from
actually
the
had that.
attack.
He actually had that before the attack. That was just
Is that-
how it
okay.
is. Yeah.
Will you stop doing that? I can't.
He's trying to kiss someone. Why won't you stop moving your head? I can't help it.
And then he dies in surgery getting it corrected.
Oh.
Oh man, that's kind of dark.
That's just
That's like something I would say, Steven.
I enjoyed it.
There was nowhere else for it to go.
In the trivia, it actually mentions the boots.
Oh, it does?
It says he wore the flat-soled laced boots rather than the regular versions
Laces.
for safety reasons because of him scrambling over all the rocky ground in this episode.
And I thought it was weird. They filmed it in some park in LA County, and so you would think they could have a few more locations because he keeps. As I mentioned, they kept going back to that same rock cropping
going
that
up,
you could go to the top of. Seemed like they could have found some other
The
stuff.
closing credits used a different shot of Vina than normal.
I thought so. I thought that was different.
There were a lot of different shots of the closing credits. We mentioned that.
Yeah.
Like, there were shots from episodes we haven't watched yet.
Yeah.
There was definitely a good shot from Space Seed.
Yes. Yeah.
So I guess we've like reached another echelon of the.
They must have completed enough
Production
episodes.
order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Probably.
squinted in the one scene, you would have seen Khan in the closing credits.
That's what I
What,
thought.
really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did think it was weird that at one point, so Kirk from the planet just says red alert, and that's all
Yeah.
they need. But then when he's on the Enterprise, he says red alert. This is not a drill.
This
is not a drill. And I was like, what?
Well, maybe last time they were kind of like dragging their feet on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well,
I think it's just a
no,
drill.
All right, well, I guess.
But when he's down the planet, they know it's not.
It's like overall, I like this episode.
yeah, it's fun.
It was an actiony
It's got
episode.
a good message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Feels important, milestone.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I was going to say, I mean, we did point out a lot of sort of like plot holes, but it wasn't always
They were
necess-
minor, though.
They were more minor.
Nothing overarching that destroyed the story.
Right, we were being nitpicky, and also some of it had to do with this is later, and maybe they hadn't established things in
Yes.
earlier episodes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm looking through the IMDb trivia, and it absolutely said this is the first time the photon torpedoes were used.
Oh, okay.
This
Okay.
is the first time we established that cruising speed is warp 6. This
Ah.
And a couple of different times when we were watching that, we asked questions that they answered immediately.
Yes.
That's true. That's true.
They explained it.
Which
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah. So that's probably Gene L. Kuhn coming through there.
Probably.
People are going to ask about this. Let's explain it.
Anything that's still a hole was probably either a fault of the director, editor, or G. Roddenberry has to clear the script.
Well, yeah, because I think there were a couple of other editing things. Because there's the one point where Kirk is speaking into the thing, and then his mouth isn't moving.
Yeah,
but we're
that
still
was
hearing
terrible,
him,
yeah.
and that is clearly an editing issue.
Yeah.
That's not a story issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
So I keep getting distracted with the thought about the whole gunpowder
Yes.
thing. I'm wondering to myself, would I know how to do it if I had to do it? I offhand, I don't think I've ever learned how to do it.
No.
I mean, I wonder if people in the military, if they're trained to do this as some sort of drill or something.
I would think survival training for Starfleet
Maybe.
would probably
Yeah.
cover stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But I mean, like even real life, present day military, would they be trained to make gunpowder of something?
See,
Or perhaps
I think
too
it'd
bad
be like-
Sam wasn't here.
Yes.
We could have
Yeah, I wish Sam hadn't canceled on us.
She would have been perfect.
Yeah, I would feel like if they are trained, it's probably survival training. It's probably special forces or something that would be more likely to run into those situations. I don't
Kirk's
know.
from
Where they happen
Iowa
to have
too, so he
sulfur
probably
and-
knows how about.
That's true.
he knows all
Iowa,
about
they
guns.
make bombs all the
And
time.
potassium.
Or maybe Sulu was explaining guns to him once again.
Yes, that was awesome.
They got into that.
Actually, they did.
Simple
they
sulfur
have
compound.
There's
Versus
another
potassium
alternate
nitrate.
episode you could have. Is just before this starts,
Sulu's.
Sulu and Kirk are just like discussing gunpowder.
Well, could I use anything? Well, sure, any kind of bamboo or something. The end would have to be closed to allow the
It doesn't.
fire to
And then
burn a certain
Yeoman
amount.
Teresa comes in like, "Hey, would you like some coffee?" And Kirk just ignores her.
And then she sucks her.
Yeah.
Captain, she's asking if you want coffee. No, I'm busy.
We're discussing
The most
gunpowder.
important thing that Sulu has to mention is, well, yes, it doesn't matter if you have both sides of the bamboo shoot open. One will close by itself. If you just if you put
Magically so.
It's basic science, really.
they'll combine at the bottom.
We missed where Kirk found the pack of chewing gum and he chewed it and stuffed the bottom.
Yes, we missed
And then
that
used a
part.
paperclip. MacGyver
Now you got
style.
it.
Well, how about how he starts a fire on top of all of the elements that he just crushed up?
Well, we had that little bag over it.
And
so
when
I
did he
think
wrap
it
the
would
rope
fall.
around the end of the cannon and why?
The trigger thing that to brace. To keep
Okay, I'm solved. Keith just explained it to me.
to keep it from splitting all the way up.
I assumed, but
Yeah.
like,
I'm sold, Keith. I'm sold.
I liked your earlier explanation
Yeah.
better.
It was very Jaeger-like.
Yeah,
To go back to the last episode.
the listening audience couldn't see Keith's hand movements as he was trying to explain.
And they can't see yours while you're imitating. Let's talk about men, women of Star Trek. I assume that
no change.
everybody's switching to Gorn, no matter what.
I mean, I did mention the Gorn's legs, but I'm gonna have to stick with Rodriguez.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the guy whose head was twitching?
I mean, I really enjoyed his acting.
We really need to convert that to stereo to get that effect.
Yes.
So that it's left-right speaker. She's going.
I think it'll come through. Sure. What about Lieutenant Harold? That was his name. What about Kelowitz? What about the Paul? What about the Saleh from the last one?
No.
Okay.
The Saleh used to be
There were no females in this one, other than Uhura.
Unless
Yeah.
the Gorn's female.
That's true, and she did have sexy legs.
Her was strong in this episode, but yeah, other than that, yeah, there was no.
The
That-
Gorn's
No new
legs were
human.
like Michelle Obama's arms.
You know, the funny thing about this is that's how they avoided having anything sexist in it. And even then, the one thing you see her doing is shrieking. So
That's a fair
they managed to do that little. So they had to concentrate it in there somehow.
So where are we gonna stick this episode?
I think it's above the last one we watched.
Scargothos?
Yeah, I think I like it better.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start there.
But I don't know if I like
Middle.
it better than Galileo 7.
Yeah, I would agree.
Maybe, but
No, I think I like Galileo 7
Yeah.
better because there are just more themes going on with Spock. And you
That
guys
was
know
pretty
I'm
good.
a Spock fan.
what's next? Tomorrow is Yesterday. Is that next one?
Court Martial, then the Return of the Archons, then Space Seed.
Oh wow.
Ready to play the exit music?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Play that funky music,
It's
white
the,
boy.
it's the same thing as fashion.
I think the Metrones are gonna play us out. Good night, everybody. We're the Metrones.
Mic drop.
Sugar, sugar. Riverdale premiered this week.
It's all been tracked.
Who has the time?